Welcome to Real Money Dramas. I sat in silence, staring at the phone screen, where the amount that was once meant to be my daughter's future glowed in red digits. $30,000. My wife, Julia, died 3 years ago and left me this sum with one simple request: keep it for Lily. I promised I would fulfill her wish. Back then, after her death, I swore I wouldn't spend a cent, but inside me a question kept echoing more and more often, a question I was afraid to even say out loud. What if I could turn 30 into 60? I lost my wife. Then I lost what she left for our daughter. The folder was in the drawer. I hadn't touched it in 3 years. Not once. I opened the drawer. Inside, the account papers. Balance, $30,000. Untouched. Sacred. Waiting. And then, her voice in my head. Just keep it for her. I'd heard it 1,000 times. I still broke it. I'd lived like a monk around that money. Paid for school, groceries, rent, fixed leaks, skipped holidays. And her money sitting there, untouched. One day, Mark leaned over my desk, voice lowered like he was offering a secret. You ever think about putting your savings to work? I raised an eyebrow. He turned his screen to me. My buddy. Pulled 12 grand in 2 weeks. Not crypto. Not a meme. Quiet project. Real structure. He said it like he didn't care. But I saw it, the flicker in his eyes. Like he was already ahead. I said nothing. Didn't believe him. Didn't forget either. That night I searched low-risk investment options. Reddit, PDFs, white papers, comment threads. Just heat in my chest. Like standing on a cliff and wondering what it would feel like to jump, not to fall, just to feel something move again. That night, I lay in the dark, eyes wide open. Julia's voice came again. Just keep it for her. I whispered back. I know. But something else was whispering louder now. I promised I wouldn't touch a cent. But the question had already landed, deep and quiet. What if I could turn $30,000 into $60,000? This wasn't curiosity anymore. It was need. The article had 4 graphs, 2 dev team bios, GitHub links, a roadmap. It read like documentation, not hype. I scrolled slow. Read twice. No bold claims. No shouting. Just architecture. They weren't selling a dream. They were building something. I like that. For 6 nights straight, I studied. Not watched, studied. Downloaded white papers. Printed them out. Marked sections. Highlighted risks. Circled contradictions. Looked up founders. Checked their past projects. Cross-referenced Reddit threads and ignored anything with emojis or rocket ships. I told myself, this isn't gambling. This is research. The project I kept coming back to had no influencers behind it. No shiny ads. Just lines of code and a quiet Discord with devs answering questions in plain language. I stared at the screen one night and whispered, would she forgive me for even thinking this? Then I clicked another link. The kind of place where people build things, not pitch them. Low market cap. Good fundamentals. Solid utility. I kept repeating those words in my head like a firewall. Kept telling myself, this is how engineers bet. Not on hope. On function. But it was still her money. Day 7, I didn't sleep. Not from fear. From something else. Pressure. Focus. Like before an exam or a job interview. But heavier. At 3:14 in the morning, I opened the folder again. Entered the account. Transferred the $30,000 into a separate wallet. Just for this. Fingers hovered before I confirmed. My breath got stuck. Mouse click. Done. Nothing exploded. No sirens. Just the confirmation screen. And a hole in my chest, like I had opened a door I couldn't close. I closed the laptop and just sat there. Palms sweating. Knees locked. I whispered out loud. It's done. The apartment was silent. Even the fridge hum stopped. Lily's door creaked from the hallway draft. I looked at it. Didn't move. I felt like I just signed something I couldn't read. But I had read it. Every word. This wasn't emotion. This was design. It had to be. The next morning, I poured coffee with a strange calm. Mechanical. No shaking. Lily was at the table, scrolling on her phone. She didn't ask why I looked wired. I didn't say. I went to work early. Needed to feel ordinary. Mark passed me again. You look sharp today. I nodded. Didn't tell him why. Because it wasn't about proving anything to Mark. Or even to Julia. It was about momentum. About not standing still anymore. That night, I checked the dashboard. Nothing had changed. No spike. No crash. Just the balance stable. I stared at the number, $29,978. The fees took a bite. It felt real. I stood, closed the screen, and put the folder back in the drawer. But it didn't feel like closing anything. It felt like starting. I didn't think I was risking something. I thought I was finally moving forward. But what I didn't realize, there was no road back anymore. First it was small. A quiet nudge. $30,000 became $31,200. I didn't react. Next day, $32,780. The browser refreshed itself before I could blink. I closed the tab. Sat still. Checked again after dinner. $33,040. 3,004 days. By week's end, it was $35,500. I walked slower that morning. Not to savor anything. To feel the weight shift. Something in my bones, like standing straighter without meaning to. I didn't tell Mark. I didn't tell anyone. Lily was in her room more often, headphones in, humming songs I didn't know. One evening, she left her homework on the table. Math problems. Linear equations. I solved one without thinking, then stared at the numbers. It clicked. This was what I had done. I had found the pattern, followed the logic, made the numbers move. By day 10, $38,000. That night, I slept 5 full hours. No middle of the night checking. No edge. The screen glowed steady in the mornings. $39,700. Then $42,100. I didn't smile. I nodded. This wasn't luck. This was execution. Each tick upward was a quiet verdict. Not, you got lucky, but you did this right. On the 15th day, it hit $44,016. I opened the dashboard. The number stared back at me, clean and unapologetic. I whispered it aloud. 44. Not with excitement. With validation. I wasn't chasing a thrill. I was correcting a life. Building instead of guarding. I imagined Julia across from me, legs crossed, coffee in hand. She didn't speak in my head, but I gave her a line anyway. Well done. The thought made my throat tighten. Not from pride. From peace. It wasn't euphoria. It was silence. Like landing a plane with no turbulence. The folder stayed in the drawer. I didn't touch it again. I didn't need to. The numbers were on the screen now, not on paper. Lily asked if we could order takeout that Friday. I said yes before checking the account. I didn't check it at all that night. And that felt like power. The next Monday, I walked into work and nodded to Mark before he could speak. He noticed something in my face. Maybe posture. Maybe nothing. He raised an eyebrow. You good? I nodded. Yeah. Then sat down and opened my dashboard again. $44,221. Stable. Calm. Controlled. I leaned back, exhaled through my nose. Hands folded. No music. No noise. Just me and the screen. I didn't know it yet, but this was the moment I became weakest. 44,000 wasn't the end. It felt like a checkpoint. A place to breathe before pushing again. I didn't say it out loud, but the thought was already circling. Just a little more. Just a 50. Clean number. Strong number. I ran the math. 6,000 more. At the current pace? Maybe 5 days. Maybe less. I told myself I wasn't greedy. I was optimizing. That word made it sound smarter. The dashboard stayed open now. Not minimized. Always one tab away. I read more articles. Subscribed to newsletters. Watched long-form breakdowns on tokenomics during lunch. Every second of free time data. I skipped dinner twice. Didn't notice until it was too late to care. The kitchen table stayed untouched. I moved the laptop to the counter next to the coffee machine. That way, I could refresh while the pot brewed. Lily didn't say anything. She watched me work in silence. The screen lit up one night. $45,880. My pulse spiked. Not from fear. From momentum. The chart showed minor dips. Nothing alarming. Still climbing. Steady steps. I stood in the hallway at 2:47 a.m., holding my phone, barefoot, back against the wall. I whispered to myself, almost there. It stopped being about the money days ago. It was about the build. I wasn't just protecting anymore. I was creating, brick by brick. And I needed to finish the wall. Needed it complete. I told myself, once I hit $50,000, I'll stop. I'll withdraw. Move it back. No more risk. But I didn't open the bank transfer form. I didn't even look at it. I looked at charts. I looked at movement. I looked at possibility. Lily left for school without saying much. I barely noticed. At work, I checked the price 3 times an hour. Kept the tab open in the background of my spreadsheets. My hands typed one thing, but my eyes flicked to the graph. $47,000. Then $48,000. Every tick felt like breath held longer. Mark passed by. I clicked away fast. "You all right?" he asked. I nodded. "Yeah, just thinking." I said it too quickly. That night, I lay in bed, fully clothed. Phone in hand. Light low. Curtains drawn. $49,300. Just one more. I refreshed. 49,300. I clenched my fist. Didn't even know I was doing it. I heard Julia's voice again, but not the soft one. This time it sounded distant, like it was behind glass. And I wasn't listening, because I had replaced her with something else, the voice that said, "You're winning. Keep going." I whispered, 2 more days. But it wasn't a plan. It was a lie I dressed up as logic. But I wasn't hearing truth anymore. Only the voice of the winner who refused to stop. It slipped without warning. 49,300. 48. Then 46. The change wasn't violent. It was quiet. Creeping. I told myself, correction. It's healthy. Normal. I'd read that phrase a dozen times in comment threads. Healthy correction. The next day, $44,700. Still above the line. Still under control. I made coffee like always, but drank it at the desk. Eyes locked to the screen. $41,200. Now I sat straighter. Refreshed twice in a row. Still no panic. Not yet. I opened the original PDF from the project. Read the roadmap again. Read the white paper again. Looked at the same words I had already studied, this time for reassurance, not knowledge. It wasn't the same feeling. $39,000. It broke a threshold in my chest. That was the number I'd passed weeks ago. Now I was back there. Still, I didn't move. Temporary, I whispered. Everything points up. It's just a dip. Mark walked past. I minimized the tab before he saw the chart. He didn't say anything, but I saw his eyes pause on my monitor. $37,500. I stayed silent. Ate at my desk. Didn't taste it. That night, I stared at the ceiling. Then opened the phone again. $34,100. It dropped again while I watched. I closed the app. Not to sleep. Just to not see. $31,800. I read a tweet that said, "If you haven't sold, you haven't lost." I repeated it in my head like a shield. I wasn't losing. I was holding. $29,400. The house stayed quiet. Even the fridge hum felt accusatory now. I read another post. Only paper hands panic. I gripped the edge of the desk and stared at the wall. $26,300. The math hurt now. I wasn't watching growth. I was watching erosion. But I didn't press sell. Because sell meant final. Mint admission. $25,100. I turned off all price alerts. I told myself I needed a break. A breather. To let the market recover on its own. That was the excuse. The truth was simpler. I was scared to see more red. I turned off Discord. Muted notifications. Unsubscribed from 2 newsletters. But I didn't close the position. Because somewhere in my mind, I was still the man building. Still the one who had made it grow. And to sell now would be to say it was all an illusion. $23,900. I whispered again, just to bounce. It'll come back. It always does. But the voice sounded smaller this time. Quieter. Almost not mine. I kept telling myself, just a little longer, it'll bounce. But the truth was simpler. I didn't want to click sell. Because that would mean saying it out loud. I failed Julia. The chart didn't slide, it collapsed. $25,000 in the morning. $19,400 by lunch. By midnight, $16,800. No headlines. No warning. Just free fall. I didn't eat. Didn't move. Just watched. Eyes locked to the screen. Jaw clenched so hard it hurt. Next day, $13,200. I opened 5 tabs at once. Twitter. Forums. Threads. Everyone screaming. No one answering. Mass liquidation. Panic sell. Whale shaking out retail. I typed a question. Waited. No reply. I typed it again. Nothing. $11,000. Every drop hit like a physical blow. I felt it in my chest, a cold pressure that wouldn't lift. I refreshed. $9,800. I told myself, it's an attack. Coordinated. It'll bounce. Just wait. 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 I didn't move from the chair for 3 hours. Lily opened the fridge behind me. I didn't turn. She asked if I'd eaten. I lied. Yeah. Earlier. She stood there a second too long. Then left. Quiet steps. I didn't look up. $7,400. The screen blurred. I blinked hard. Pressed my palms into my eyes. I searched for the project's Discord. Gone. The website is unavailable. I checked the transaction history. Still there. Still real. I checked my heart rate. Too fast. Felt like I was sprinting while sitting still. I whispered, it's just a phase. It'll correct. $6,000. I looked at the sell button. The cursor hovered. Not clicking, just floating. Like it knew, but wouldn't act. I heard Julia again. But not her voice, her silence. $4,900. My fingers shook. Not metaphor. Physically. Couldn't keep them still. I refreshed. Again. Again. $4,300. I started pacing. 8 steps across the living room. Then back. Again. Again. Checked the screen. Same number. Same pain. I Googled, can crypto recover from crashes? I read old posts from bull runs. False hope printed in pixels. I sat on the floor. Back to the wall. Knees to my chest. $3,700. I opened the cell screen again. Hovered. Closed it. Not yet. Not yet. Because once I click, it becomes real. Not just a drop. Not just a number. A failure. I pictured Lily opening that folder one day and finding nothing. I pictured Julia saying, you knew better. I stayed frozen. Refreshed again. $3,110. I watched the number melt on the screen. And still, I didn't click. Because the moment I sell, it's no longer a fall. It's the truth. Day 3. The dashboard didn't load. I refreshed. Waited. Nothing. Just a blank screen and spinning icon. I closed the browser. Reopened. Tried another. Switched devices. Same result. Maybe maintenance. Maybe traffic. Maybe denial. Day 4. Still down. I searched online. Forums silent. No new threads. Old ones archived. The project's name disappeared from indexes. Tags gone. I opened the email tied to the account. Nothing. No alerts. No system notices. I tried VPN. Logged in from Germany. Singapore. Canada. Same screen. Same nothing. I restarted the router. Switched networks. Nothing. I typed an email to support. Dashboard not loading. Please confirm access. No reply. I sent it again. Twice. 3 times. From different addresses. Silence. Day 5. Subject line in bold. Account status notification. I opened it. Hands cold. Stomach tight. One sentence. Due to unforeseen market conditions, the project has ceased operation. All assets are currently frozen. Withdrawals suspended. No apology. No timeline. No warning. I logged in again. Somehow, the page opened this time. Balance, $142. That was it. The number blinked in silence. No chart. No history. Just 3 digits. Static. I stared. Not at the number. At the space around it. Everything gone. Not lost, erased. No headlines. No lawsuits. No explanation. Just gone. I closed the laptop. Didn't scream. Didn't throw anything. Didn't cry. Just sat in the chair. Then on the floor. Then against the wall. Time passed. No idea how much. The folder, her folder, was still in the drawer. I didn't open it. Didn't want to see the signatures. The ink. Her handwriting. Lily was out. I didn't know where. Didn't care. I couldn't move anyway. I wasn't thinking about the money. I was thinking about the promise. I imagined Julia sitting across from me, arms crossed, not angry, just disappointed. And that was worse. I picked up the phone. Looked at the balance one more time, $142. That's what was left. After everything. After the analysis. The charts. The effort. The belief. $142. And 63 cents. I whispered it aloud. Like a sentence. Then said it again. Not because I couldn't believe it, but because I had to accept it. $142. Not enough to replace anything. But maybe, Just enough to start something. $142. I didn't know what I could do with that number. But I knew this much. That's where it had to begin. The question was, how? I didn't tell anyone. Not Mark. Not Lily. No one. I took the afternoon off work. Said it was an appointment. Which was true. Walked to the bank. Gray building. No music. Just the slow sound of printers and footsteps on tile. I waited in line behind a man filling out a withdrawal slip by hand. When my turn came, I said it clearly. I'd like to open a savings account. The woman behind the glass looked up. Nodded. Name. Lily K. Clark. 13 years old. She paused. For your daughter? I nodded. She started typing. I pulled the envelope from my coat pocket. Cash. $143. Crisp bills. Folded once. I slid it through the tray. She didn't blink. Didn't ask. Typed a few more things. Printed papers. Had me sign. I used Julia's pen. The one with the chipped clip. I don't know why I still carry it. Habit, maybe. Signature done. Transaction logged. Receipt printed. She handed it to me. Initial balance. $143. I nodded again. Took the paper. Folded it in half. Would you like to set up automatic deposits? I hesitated. Then, yes. Every 15th of the month. For my account. She asked the amount. 50. For now. She typed it in. Her nails clicked on the keyboard, one key at a time. Deliberate. That's all. I nodded. That's all. I walked home. Not slower. Not faster. When I got in, Lily was at the kitchen table, earbuds in, math textbook open. She didn't look up. I placed the bank slip in the drawer. Not with the old folder. Not yet. Just a drawer. Middle one. Where bills and batteries go. That night I cooked dinner. Simple. Eggs, toast, and a half salad from yesterday. Lily asked if everything was okay. Yeah, I said. No lies. Just a quiet yes. She nodded, kept eating. After she went to bed, I opened my laptop. Not to check prices. Not to chase. Just to sit. No numbers. No dashboards. Just a document. Monthly budget. Newstart.xls. I made 3 categories. Rent. Utilities. Lily. I didn't know how long it would take. Didn't care. I wasn't chasing anything now. I was rebuilding. Brick by brick. The number wasn't impressive. But it was real. $143. And a system to add more. That night, I fell asleep with the window cracked open. Air cold. Still. No dreams. Just one sentence, buried under everything. Maybe this is enough. But the next morning, I woke up with a thought I couldn't shake. Quiet. Persistent. What if just once, I tried again? The deposit hit on the 15th. $50. Second month in a row. Scheduled. Precise. Automatic. I checked the balance. Closed the tab. Didn't smile. Didn't frown. Just stood there in the kitchen with my coffee cooling in my hand. Back at work, the noise started again. Mark showed me a chart in the break room. Market's turning, he said. You see this? I nodded without looking too hard. Didn't tell him anything. Didn't want advice. Didn't want validation. But that night, the thought returned. What if you tried again? Not like before. Not blind. Not desperate. Something slower. Something smarter. I pushed the thought away. Clicked over to Lily's account again. $242.63. 3 months of deposits. Nothing big, but solid. Then the voice again. Is that all you're capable of? I walked to the fridge. Opened it. Closed it. Walked back to the laptop. Typed into the search bar, long-term investing principles. Paused. Erased it. Typed, how not to lose money again. Erased that too. Left the screen blank. The next day, I added another category to the spreadsheet. Ideas. Nothing inside it yet. Just the word. Waiting. At the gas station, I stood by the pump and stared at the total. $56.12. Almost what I sent Lily last week. It looked small now. At work, I answered emails slower. Watched people more. Wondered if they'd ever lost something big. Wondered if they got it back. Lunch hour. I opened a video, The Psychology of Loss. Skipped the intro. Watched it twice. The man said, losing isn't the worst part. Not moving after it. That's where people rot. I paused the screen. Let that sentence sit. I didn't feel rot. But I felt stuck. Back home, I sat on the edge of the bed. Shoes still on. I wasn't chasing profit. I wasn't itching for charts. But my hands were restless. I took out a notebook. Page 1. Why I failed. I didn't write anything under it. Just closed it. Placed it back on the table. The next morning, I transferred another 50. Then stood by the window, watching cars crawl through the rain. Something in my chest wouldn't quiet down. Not hunger. Not greed. Something else. Like a door knocking from the inside. What if I try to understand how everything really works? After all, there are successful investors, traders, who make entire fortunes. Why am I any worse? I didn't go back to crypto. Not because I was scared. Because I finally understood it was never mine. I wasn't a player. Not a hunter. And I never had been. I was a caretaker. And now, maybe a builder. The next Monday, I signed up for a course. Nothing flashy. No promises. Just one line. Financial literacy for adults. 8 weeks. Evenings. Online. They taught things no one put on billboards: interest rates, inflation, compound returns. The stuff people skim over. And I didn't skim. I listened to lectures on the bus. Sat in the corner seat, headphones in, old jacket zipped up to the neck, notebook balanced on my knees. I wrote down everything. Not because I had to. Because it felt like building a map inside my head. I didn't invest. Not yet. I just studied. And each month, on time, I made the deposit. Sometimes 100. Sometimes 20. Whatever I could. No excuses. No delays. I started watching different videos. Case studies. Market history. Crisis dates. How people actually lost. How they rebuilt. Every number had context now. Not hype. Meaning. One day, I spent 4 hours building a spreadsheet that tracked monthly growth with projections for 3 scenarios. No one saw it. Didn't matter. It was real. It was mine. And still, some days, I'd sit in the kitchen, coffee in hand, and feel it in my chest. It's still not enough. But I'd breathe. Remind myself, it's more than what I started with. And far more honest. 9 months passed. On a Wednesday, I woke up early. Not because of a dream. Just naturally. Made coffee. No rush. The fridge hummed. Clock ticked. Same rhythm as always. Lily was still asleep. I opened the banking app. Routine. No goal. No pressure. Just checked. $2,011. The number blinked back at me. I didn't move. Not because it was a lot, but because it wasn't memory anymore. It wasn't grief. It was process. It was me. I didn't feel pride. Didn't want to call anyone. I just sat and let the silence hold. And for the first time in years, I smiled. No guilt. No weight. No shadow behind me. Not forgiveness. Just lightness. Like someone inside finally whispered, This is the right road. I finished my coffee. Went to Lily's room. Knocked. She stirred. Eyes half open. You're up early, she said. I nodded. Just slept well. She yawned. Rolled over. No questions. I stood in the doorway a moment longer. $2,011. It wasn't a fortune, but it was more than I'd had. More than I'd lost. And it was mine. Not the money, the path. I wasn't a keeper anymore. I was a builder. And this was just the beginning. Thanks for staying till the end. What's your take on this story? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe, more true and hidden stories are coming soon.